Most people hate crypto. It is normal. And I actually think that.
This is Amaury Sechet of eCash and Bitcoin ABC, and you're listening to Coin Fugazi.
Because that's a Fugazi, all right?
That's a Fugazi? How do you know it's a Fugazi? You looked at it for 2 seconds.
Well, it's a fake.
Yeah, I know what a Fugazi is.
It's all a Fugazi. You know what a Fugazi is?
Fugazi, it's a fake.
Yeah, Fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust.
Coin Fugazi.
Coin Fugazi.
Coin Fugazi. Coin Fugazi. Coin Fugazi. Coin Fugazi.
And welcome back to another installment of We Have Decided to Liquidate. SBF, FTX, CZ, in a week that shook the world Satoshi created. This time around, we're meeting with David Gerard. He's a UK-based writer, blogger, probably best known for being one of crypto's great haters. There are skeptics. There is Gerard. He documents the foibles and scams and even otherwise legitimate crypto projects as all part of the same grand illusion of easy money and con men. He's sought out for quotes by the press when anything goes wrong in crypto, and his work has appeared in venerable journals such as Foreign Policy. He's author of 2 books on crypto, Attack of the 50-Foot Blockchain and Libra Shrugged. You can find his work out at davidgerard.co.uk. That's DAVIDGERARD.co.uk. David Gerard, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening.
Tell me how stupid I am. Go ahead. I'm so glad to have you back.
It's been a hell of a 6 months, as you know. So basically, this is just the latest installment in the ongoing collapse. Like, this is all Terra Luna. And that is the fault of people who wanted dollars so much that they made up a token and said, you're a dollar. And then they made 18 billion of them. Then it turned out to be made of hot air. And it turned out nobody could cope with that. So, yeah, it's been an exciting time.
This is your season. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've been writing with fellow no-coiner Amy Caster. We've discovered that if we both collaborate on a thing, we can get a lot more research done. So we had an ongoing crypto collapse series in our blogs. Like this morning, I'm reading a 300-page filing of the examiner's report on the Celsius bankruptcy, that sort of thing, you know. It's all fun.
This really is, for people who don't know, I obviously just introduced you, but people don't know, this is your thing. Like, when other people have hobbies, you know, and this is one of the things that you like to do. You like to examine financial scams, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do get some money for this. Basically, I've got a day job as like a sysadmin, and I have a second half a job which is writing about this stuff. And you know, so it's great fun. You know, a lot of people get ripped off a lot and lose a lot of money, but on the other hand, I sell books. So who can say if it's good or bad, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of people who have just lost everything because. So the trouble with crypto is that Bitcoin basically failed to ever start its own sort of economy, like where people deal in stuff in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin and cryptos in general became a proxy for dollars. They're a dollar derivative. You get into crypto because you want dollars. There are people who have higher ambitions than that, but you know, we just came out of a bubble. Approximately 100% of the people who were in it for the dollars. So yeah, and now the dollars have all gone home. Retail interest has plummeted. It's hard to get numbers on that, but we do have some numbers. And the reason for that is because Coinbase is a publicly traded company that has to file stuff with the SEC. And they're under the crippling disadvantage for a crypto company that they're not allowed to lie. So you can imagine how bad that would be. So Coinbase is...
You leave Brian Armstrong alone.
Coinbase is... I'm sure that Brian would never make a material misstatement or a material omission in an SEC filing. He's certainly brighter than that. But
Have you seen the latest Wall Street Journal ad that they ran?
No, I have not.
Oh, I have to show it to you. It trust us. It's, don't look at these other idiots, basically responding in a roundabout way to FTX. I should have shot it to you before the podcast, but you would fall over laughing.
I think I've seen the one. Is that the one they emailed to all their customers as well? Because I think I actually got that one. I have a Coinbase login from like 5 years ago. And I've never sent a single penny there, but I've got a login. So yeah, the important thing is their numbers show retail interest has dropped through the floor. Like basically all the dollars have gone home. There's the influx of fresh dollars has stopped coming in because the bubble's over. And this sort of leaves everyone screwed, because not only have they all got a massive hole in their accounts because they were all up to their asses in Terra Luna, but also they've got all these massive piles of cryptos, and they're saying, no, market cap. These are totally mark-to-market accounted, and they're worth hundreds of millions and billions of actual dollars, and we're going to count them in dollars. But you couldn't convert that to dollars because the buyers aren't there. Their liquidity isn't there. The dollars are not there. And FTX did this. Basically, it turned out their assets, their liabilities are very real, but their assets all turn out to be imaginary. Like Celsius had the same problem. Basically, it was FTT tokens and Serum tokens. Like FTT is their exchange token, and Serum is the official FTX decentralized exchange token. And it's like, this is like if a supermarket had, it's like supermarket loyalty points from shopping there. And they said, our accounts show we're totally solvent. And 3/4 of the money was their own loyalty points that they accounted as money. So yeah, that's the short answer of how FTX is screwed on the accounts. And that'll be the thing that when Binance looked at FTX's books, they went, holy crap, guys, and ran away screaming.
Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure CZ had a pretty good idea that FTX was full of hot air, but he may have just said, look, I'll totally help you, and then shanked the guy 5 or 6 times in public in full view of everyone just to send a message. But yeah, that he publicly stated, yeah, there's at least $6 billion hole in FTX's accounts, and others put it at like 10 billion.
Yeah,
and bloody hell, it's amazing.
It is. I think it's okay. Let me back up a little bit. Do any crypto people at all that you're aware of? I kind of already know the answer to this question. Get any credit for having been skeptical in the first place of FTX and SBF, or no?
I don't remember a list of names, but quite a lot of people were saying ahead of time, look, something's up at FTX. I bet their assets are 400 loans, that sort of thing. And you read things like did you read the first day report from John J. Ray, the new bankruptcy CEO?
The guy from Enron.
He's a financial hazmat guy. He cleans up financial chemical spills and disasters like this.
In the mafia, we call him a fixer.
Yeah, except that he's a proper staid, respectable gentleman, you know. And he says this is worse than Enron because he was shocked at the way they did everything. But you read that report, it looks like every crypto firm in the last decade. You know, absolutely amateur hour, but also this is completely normal. You know, did they keep proper accounts of anything? Well, no, they didn't. Were they sloppy with the money? Of course they were. Did they have any idea where they put stuff? Nah. You know, they were very much smart boy geniuses who know much better than everyone else, and they are just so smart. And they use their great brains to reason out things from first principles, not according to any of this legacy sort of knowing what the hell you're doing sort of principle. No, they have much better ways to do everything. And it turns out that they were arrogant dumbasses. Because, if you're a smart guy, then you can try to account for the fact that you're still stupid because you're a human, or you can use your smarts to be a 10x dumbass and blow up much, much bigger than any ordinary person could. So I think that's what they did. Like, basically, the actual financial thing that would constitute a crime, fraud, that it looks like they did, was the bit where the trading desk, Alameda, was getting topped up with customer funds from FTX.
Mm-hmm. The so-called
This is so illegal. This is so illegal in every financial jurisdiction.
Not in the Bahamas.
So the Bahamas. So in practical terms, yeah, but on the books terms, no, it is illegal.
It's not part of GAAP or anything. Yeah,
it's finally big enough that the Bahamas is bothering to do stuff. That's how big this is. So they basically were topping up Alameda from FTX, and that's just so illegal and constitutes fraud. Now, he hasn't been convicted or anything, so I won't say that he has done something that has been convicted of fraud, but I will say it's looking very like he did that sort of thing. So yeah, basically you top it up a little bit, you cover a small hole, then you have a bigger hole. I'll cover that hole. It'll be fine. I'll pay it back. You have a bigger hole and you cover that up with even more money of your customers. And then you add even more at about $4 billion, say, and it all explodes. So that's more or less what happened. And that happened from the Terra Luna collapse. Because I'm not clear. Did we ever get to the bottom of who actually caused the Terra Luna collapse?
Right. No, that's still going on. And I was going to ask you if you had any clarity on the connection between SBF. Go ahead.
So the story of Terra Luna is you had a made-up token called Terra, which was supposed to be a stable coin, and a made-up token called Luna.
An algorithmic stable coin.
Yeah, Terra is backed by Luna. Luna is backed by Terra. They were both just made-up tokens. Neither was backed by a damn thing. Luna had a price because if you release any garbage on DeFi and trade one of them, suddenly it's got a dollar value and people's judgment disappears because it's got a dollar sign on it. And they think that illiquid garbage, if you've got a ton of them, is worth $1 billion. Even though in practice, you'd be lucky to get $1,000 out of it. So Terra and Luna were backed by each other, which means they were backed by nothing. And then somehow 18 billion Terra USD came into existence, backed by nothing. And someone noticed this and realized that by crashing this system, they could make a few $100 million in crypto. So they did. Now, the funny bit, I do want to check out exactly what happened because I suspect that one of the companies that did this was Alameda. Right. And the great thing there is that if that's the case, then Alameda took out Terra Luna and made a bunch of cash and went, woohoo, good trade for us because we're vicious hedge fundies, don't cross us. And then this took out a bunch of other companies because everyone was in hock to anchor Terra Luna's lending protocol because Anchor paid 20%, more than anyone. And then it turned out a pile of companies that Alameda had a bunch of, it knocked those companies down. So if that's the case, then Alameda carefully lined up the machine gun, calculated their trajectory, and took off their own leg. So if they did it themselves, then lol. And then Sam had to patch up the hole. Then for the last 6 months, this arsehole has known, while he got up there smiling and nodding, talking to legislators and regulators and the press and saying what a sensible, reasonable fellow he was, he knew he was broke the whole time. So I think for the last 6 months, he's been lying his ass off. And I'm saying that here in England under the libel laws of England and Wales. So, yeah, I stand by that statement. So, yeah. And so the sudden wave of hatred from crypto for Sam Bankman-Fried, well, I think it's got something to it. The guy was clearly a massive cock, and he not only stole everyone's money, he knew the money was gone, and he lied and lied and lied about it. And yeah, so I don't know. He was trying to buy up all these other distressed companies like BlockFi. They were going to buy out Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that one was quite disappointing because the Voyager, the Celsius and Voyager bankruptcies were really big news because when crypto guys get wrecked, they tend to go, well, I just wasn't a great trader, lol, next time. Back to McDonald's. But Celsius and Voyager had ordinary people as investors, like Karens, they and when they get ripped off, they yell. You will hear them from the moon, and you'll particularly hear them in regulator offices. So I did a securities regulator conference in September, talking about how to deal with crypto frauds, and like a room full of state regulators, state and provincial regulators, and multiple of them want to put Mashinsky's ass in jail from Celsius, for example. Like they didn't even need prompting. They just said, yeah, we want to jail that guy. And I can see a lot to this opinion. There's a lot of steps, a lot of paperwork between here and Mashinsky in a cell, but it's the sort of thing that should probably happen at some stage.
And is this the fellow that's in Dubai?
No, that's a different fella.
He's the other guy.
Mashinsky's still in the US. God knows why. But yeah. Because when Terra Luna went, that took out everyone who'd put their money into Anchor. One of the companies put their money into Anchor was a crypto hedge fund, 3 Arrows Capital, 3AC.
Right.
See, the way it worked was Anchor offered 20% interest. 3AC offered 18% interest, and they took the 2%. And there was a whole bunch of other firms like feeder funds taking a few percent and offering a few less percent. And they were all taken out. It was like a great big inverted pyramid that collapsed. So everyone was in hock to 3AC as well, like either Terra Luna or 3AC, and then those firms collapsed and everyone fell over. So yeah, it's the guys from 3AC who appear to be in Dubai. Do Kwon from Terraform Labs is...
And in fairness to the 3AC guy, Dubai is lovely this time of year. Go ahead.
Absolutely. If you have money, it's awesome. So, and he has money, other people's money,
right? Which is always the best kind of money. It just feels better.
Yeah. The 3AC guys, they were great. They just disappeared one day. They just closed their office door in Singapore sometime in late May, and just fled.
And Do Kwon came back. I don't know if you saw it, but Do came back to kind of grave dance over Sam, right?
Yeah, because he's just a great guy, and he insists. Do Kwon is from Terraform Labs, insists he's not on the run. The Korean authorities say, "So come back if you're not on the run," and he's declined. But yeah, so basically everyone got wrecked. Retail buyers got wrecked in Celsius, where they're going to get. There's basically no money left. They're going to get penny on the dollar. Voyager was a bit better off. Their assets were actually assets, some of them. They'd done a deal for FTX US to buy them for and creditors would get 72 cents on the dollar. 28% haircut is bad, but it's better than 100% haircut. So, that deal was going to be okay. It was about the best they could do. They were going to be not happy exactly, but not too unhappy. And then FTX fell over. And FTX US is caught up in that. So they're now going, well, damn, and looking for another buyer. Binance is sniffing around them. I wonder if they'll be any good. So, yeah, I think they'll be examining their next buyer's books very carefully. But, yeah, honestly, it's hard to keep track of all the different collapses because it's just been a continuous shitstorm since May. The Bitcoin price has gone down. The price has not got down as much as people might have thought.
I was going to ask you that,
hovering around 16,000. See, I think the price is whatever it needs to be so that some people's loans don't margin call, but also it can't go too low, but it can't go too high because then bag holders try to cash out. So you got to keep it that unhappy medium. The price is whatever Binance needs it to be because they deploy BUSDs, both ones that exist and are actually Paxos dollars with money in Silvergate Bank and so on, and ones that are just numbers in Binance's database. So, and those may be the same thing, but the price is what it needs to be so that people don't get, so that the right people don't get liquidated. But the thing is that the Bitcoin volume, of course, has gone way down, particularly the actual dollars. As I said, we don't have any data on this because that's super secret data, except now it isn't because Coinbase has to tell people in their filings. So we know that retail has gone home. Incoming dollars way down. So yeah, it's all a bit of a mess. And so everyone's sitting on these great big piles of cryptos, as I said, that they're all accounting as billions of dollars worth of cryptos, even though no one's got billions of dollars and will ever give them billions of dollars for it. And it's like everyone's waiting for it to blow up. It's a great time.
You always make me laugh. Just because we've kind of danced around CZ here. Changpeng Zhao, who I haven't really talked a lot about in this series yet. Kind of an admirable guy, I guess. Came over from China.
Successful guy.
A successful guy. Grew up in Canada. Famously worked at McDonald's. Sold everything in the rush of 2013. Does he get any credit for his November 6th? What'd you call it? A shanking? Does he get any credit for acting on Ian Allison's piece in CoinDesk and kind of bringing this all front and center?
I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows who leaked. I mean, Ian Allison knows who leaked it to him. And
he insists. There's a Wu Blockchain just published the other night an interview that Ian did with Mike Casey and over some sort of Chinese media, and they talked about and Allison is saying, which I found really interesting. I guess he's a Scot, which I didn't know. That's not the interesting bit, but he basically said, no, I can tell you for sure it wasn't anybody from Binance. Now,
right, that's interesting.
As a journalist, aren't you then? It's bigger than a breadbasket. I mean, why would you even say that?
Say what do you mean?
Meaning that limits the available universe. So in other words, if you're asking me for my sources as a journalist, I would say
it wasn't Binance. Well, the rumor was that CZ had sent in that document to Shank.
That was my thought. Yeah,
Shank FTX. That was a rumor that was going around. But if he says no, then I guess it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian's actually really good. He's like one of the guys. He writes something, I read it.
Yeah. I agree. But what I'm saying is like, so there's two things there. So one is, I guess we don't need to comment on sort of methods and sources, but I found it weird that he would insist that they definitely didn't do that. I'll have to shoot you the recording so you can maybe give it some more context. But he was insistent about that. He said, no, everybody's saying that Binance fed me this or whatever. No, I can assure you that's not what happened.
It's a strong rumor. A lot of people think it, but apparently not. Well, that's interesting. I did not know that until then. But so I wonder who did. Someone at FTX, maybe?
I think it's inside, yeah.
So at the moment, like, a lot of people at FTX, they had absolute faith in Sam and they put their own money into FTX. They used FTX as their bank because it was easier than getting hold of an actual bank and stuff. And Sam just screwed them over utterly. And they're not happy at all. I think a lot of them have stayed on working for the new bankruptcy CEO so that they can aid in the task of nailing Sam's ass to the wall, which a noble pursuit, the pursuit of spite keeps you bright-eyed and getting up in the morning.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because that would be a very motivating thing. Hey, your employer just screwed you over. Would you like to return the favor? I'd love to. So and he actually commented in the piece how incredibly helpful and enthusiastic they were. So I think that's where the enthusiasm came from.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
as for CZ, I mean, Binance is the biggest exchange, and clearly he's like competent in a lot of ways that a lot of other crypto people aren't, such as Sam. And obviously so the important thing about the offshore exchanges is they're literally unregulated, right? They have no effective regulation.
Mm-hmm.
The only rule is they are not allowed to spook the suckers. They abuse their customers terribly, you know. There's quite a lot of credible accusation of Binance front-running its own customers quite a lot, wrecking people on margin, that sort of thing. Because who's going to stop them? This leads to my more general theory and Amy's more general theory that basically the big version is all crypto firms are actually quadriga. It's just not all of them have exploded yet. Like FTX, a lot of people thought it was solid until it exploded. It turned out to be full of hot air and evil and condom wrappers, and it was just bad. But
Amphetamines too.
And I'm sure all of the amphetamines were properly prescribed in a legal manner. I certainly would not accuse. I will actually not accuse anyone at FTX of taking drugs illegally because they had their doctor on hand on site. And you know, I don't know if it was meth or if it was just like Ritalin, and they thought Ritalin was great, you know, because you know it's fantastic.
Unfortunately, their CEO has Caroline has documented evidence of her lauding amphetamine use.
Yes, and I'm sure that they had a great time. And but I mean, Ritalin is not quite meth, but if you take too much of it, maybe it will be. But also, the other thing is that, as in that more venerable finance drug, cocaine, it makes you think. It doesn't actually make you into a financial genius. It just makes you think you are.
Right.
So, but you know, where could you go wrong if you have extreme arrogance about your own brilliance and you're in the middle of a market crash? I'm sure it'll be fine.
Is there any thought at all to, and I'll let you wrap up with you here in just a second, but kind of a final point, a button here on his motivations, at least the massaging of his personality, his persona in the mainstream press, and how even after everything had exploded, the New York Times just basically filleted him
that was terrible.
Oh, so okay, good. I'm glad you agree, at least on that.
That was awful. But basically, quite a lot of zillionaires, they don't actually seek the limelight. Like if someone asked them specifically about what they do, they might talk to them because you know they're probably interested in what they do, but they don't seek it out. If you see a billionaire seeking out the press and publicity, if you see their name in the papers outside of the bottom columns of the financial press, then they're doing a PR exercise. Now, if you're Steve Jobs, you know, you use that because you are using that to market your products. You know, I'm a great guy who knows exactly what you want. My personality, buy lovely Apple products, you'll have a great life. That worked really well. He delivered, you know. Elon Musk, this worked for him for a time. I make electric cars. They're great to drive. And we're going to do energy transition and go to Mars, and it'll be awesome. And this, basically, the last 2 weeks of Twitter have sort of disproven the genius of that particular billionaire because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing there. But yeah, basically, whenever you get a billionaire promoting themselves, they try to make you think they're Steve Jobs. And sometimes they turn out to be Elizabeth Holmes. So I'd put Sam more at the Elizabeth Holmes end of the scale. He was promoting, I saw a great thing today. His shorts and T-shirt and untied sneakers outfit, that was a business suit. Specifically, that was an outfit he wore to market himself in a presentation to other business people. exactly like you would wearing a nice suit to a meeting, except he wanted to project the image of being a nerdy genius who was incomprehensible to the world. And of course it was marketing. But he did this to legislators too, where at least he wore a suit, even if he couldn't tie his shoes. He wanted to make them think he was the sensible fellow who had a good handle on this stuff, was of balanced opinions, and everything would work. So you should make laws that let me take all the money. So yeah, it's very much a persona thing. The effective altruist stuff, I could go on for about half an hour about that alone. It's like charity's great, give away your money. Earning to give, which means do bad things to do good things, that might have a few philosophical issues. Confess in drunken late night messages to your fellow effective altruism friend at Vox that actually it was all bullshit, you were lying. That might not go down so well. That was actually interesting. Kelsey Piper is another effective altruism person, and like they would have worked together and known stuff. And normally you wouldn't have her write an article about Sam because they were too closely linked. But I can totally see her going to her editor and saying, holy crap, look at these DMs. And the editor going, yeah, we're running that. And it was important and newsworthy. So, yeah, I don't know. Some effective altruism people, they're like weird but quite good and they're trying to make the world better. Others are goddamn reprehensible freaks and they're like a fascist's idea of an altruist and they're like bad. And so I think Sam and Caroline in particular are much closer to that end, where somehow Caroline would write in her Tumblr about the possible suffering of wild fish and then be a massive, then she'd post about being a massive race and IQ scientist. These people are bizarre. They will worry more about the hypothetical suffering of fish or the hypothetical suffering of electrons, but the suffering caused by racism is obviously these dissolute lesser people's fault. They're bizarre people.
Yeah, but very, very internet-y. Very they're Bay Area near reactionaries, basically. Trying to be, imagine a huge reactionary trying to think charity, I'll look that up in the dictionary. Right, I'll try to do some of that then. I don't have a lot of faith it'll come up with good answers. Yeah, fascinating. Well, I love the fact that I gave you a chance to do a victory lap here at our expense. It's the least I could do to pay you back for all of your time that you've given me over the years. Go ahead.
Oh God, we're still trying to cover this stuff. It's like such a mess.
It's amazing.
Amy and I have like a master document full of stuff we're trying to take notes on. We made a separate one for FTX that's like 6,000 words already, and that's just notes. And we've got to distill it down, and it's quite difficult.
I can't wait.
Shit keeps happening.
I can't wait to read it and cry. All right, so David Gerard is the man. He's vegetables. He's exercise. He's going to challenge you. He's going to get into your face and laugh at you about all the stupid shit you believe when it comes to crypto. And I know because I'm the guy he's laughing at. But I appreciate his candor, his good humor. He always brings it when he comes on. David,
I love these interviews because someone I don't actually have to explain. So, David, can you tell me what is a Bitcoin?
How do people find the rest of your work? I alluded to in the beginning, but how do they follow you, find you, and keep up with the sadomasochism that will be the peering into their dark souls?
So I would normally tell people to follow me as David Gerard on Twitter, but Twitter is being a Elon Musk production in that bumpers and doors are randomly falling off it in the street like a Tesla. So that's on brand. Like stuff is not working and it's slowly breaking, and oh wow, it's amazing. But if that doesn't work, then I'm at davidgerard.co.uk. And if you search for David Gerard crypto or David Gerard Bitcoin, you'll find me. My search engine optimization is awesome.
It really is. I really, again, appreciate your time here, David. Thanks so much. And I know we're going to be talking again.
Anytime. This is great.